Okay, so we're going to talk basics of rolling and specifically rolling on hard surfaces because you just never know, right? Um, when I teach rolling, everything starts on the ground because one of the biggest challenges that people have to overcome in any endeavor is the fear of doing a certain thing. And even if you logically are not afraid of it, sometimes, and I'm going to speak broad hypotheticals, I'm not a scientist, the neurology, your neurology, will restrict you from doing something because it senses danger before your brain, before you logically or consciously will figure out that it's dangerous. But if you slowly progress the skill and the potential dangerous thing, it helps a lot. So part of this whole idea is to become accustomed with feeling your body connected to the ground and how it feels to move about on the ground. So you can literally start your journey into rolling simply by laying on a hard surface and just feeling. I got some stuff in my pocket I want to take out. So you can literally just lay and start here. And as you're doing it, evaluate how your body feels against the ground or whatever surface you're on. Start to feel if there are some parts that are painful, or are there some parts that are more relaxed, or are there parts that you feel are pressing into the surface more heavily than others, right? So for me at the moment, I feel more pressure on the back of my right pelvic bones than, I'm sorry, at the left than the right. And that's partially, I imagine, because I'm sloped slightly to my left. So from starting from here, you spend as much time as you want just feeling it, right? And then just start to kind of wiggle around a little bit. This is actually a nice way to start to warm up your body even. Just start by wiggling the legs, arms, just settle into the floor. See if you can get as balanced a feeling onto the ground as possible, right? Long exhales have long been known, and there's scientific research along with prolonged exhales that show how it helps to shift your nervous system from stressed, fight or flight, and so forth into more relaxed. Okay, so stressed sympathetic nervous system, relaxed parasympathetic nervous system, right? So we want to operate from the parasympathetic, from the relaxed nervous system as much as possible. In our training, and as we escalate the drills, right, we're working on doing what I call expanding our success threshold. So the first things we want to do is we want to work within our success threshold, right? So that is doing everything within a boundary that you know you are going to succeed at, and then slowly pushing beyond that a little bit at a time. So from this point, just sit up. I don't care how you do it, just go ahead and sit upright. And from this position, I want you to start thinking about pressing your chest forward and then back, or think about spine. Press your spine forward, press your spine back, and start to create a little bit of openness and wave-like movement in the spine itself. Because the first part of our rolling is going to be what we call a rocking position, right? So we're actually going to create this rounded spinal posture, and we're going to learn to rock on it, just like a rocking chair. Use the rocking chair with the nice curved wood on the bottom. We're going to do the exact same thing with our bodies. So what I like to do for that, bring the heels up towards the butt, knees are up. You can hug your legs if you want, or you don't have to. But from here, press your spine back, drop your chin to your chest, and try to create as much of a curve as you can. And then you're just going to rock backwards. But when you rock backwards, you need to keep this shape, okay? Keep this curved shape pattern. And then this next point becomes very important, especially on hard surfaces or uneven terrain. Don't rock and or roll directly on the spine as much as possible. We want to avoid rolling directly on the spine itself. We want to be just to the left or right on the muscles that travel up and down the spine. Something's running in the woods here. I just want to make sure it's not a bear. We've had bears lately. So we're going to rock backwards. I'm going to go on my left side first, and I'm going to rock back on the left, come back up to this position, this seated position on the left. So if you want, you can just kind of toss yourself backwards, or you can initiate the movement by drawing one or both knees towards your chest. So I'm going to lift my left knee towards my chest and rock. Same with the other side, on the right side. And then you just start rocking back and forth. I like to alternate left, right, and then also like to play with rolling back on one side, transitioning across the shoulders to the opposite side and coming back forward. And I'll demonstrate from different angles. So again, left side only, right side only. And where you're doing it, try to hold up in that shoulder, for lack of a better term, shoulder stand position for a moment. It doesn't have to be indefinite, but just can you control yourself? Rolling, in my opinion, one of the important pieces of it is about body control, self-control. So, just a momentary pause. Doesn't have to be a lot. That's all you need. So, from the back, left side, right side. Now the transition, I'm going to go backwards on my left, transition from the left shoulder to right shoulder, and then roll back forward on the right side of my spine. Same on the opposite side. And you'll notice too, there's a little bit of a hip rotation in that. So that's the beginning, rocking. Now, from there, it's almost easier to work on the backward roll first because we're already in this position. But it can be scary for some people. Just putting their hips and their feet over their head can be a scary situation. So we'll actually put that aside for now. Let's talk about getting ready for a forward roll. With all of the rolling, just as I said, when you rock back on your spine, you want to do it on the muscle that's on the left and right side of the spine. The great thing about a hard surface is it quickly teaches us where the hard parts of our body are. And you do not want to grind the hard parts of your body into solid surfaces. Put your elbow on the ground, grind it back and forth. Doesn't feel good. We don't want to do that. So we're always looking to try to find the most padding to engage with the ground as we go through. So if you're a very skinny, bony person, build a little bit of muscle. You don't have to do a lot, but you want a padding of muscle and subcutaneous fat, right? So the subcutaneous fat, that's the stuff just under the skin here. Now, on the topic of fat, we're not going to go deep into this, but a lot of times there's a lot of guys that have a lot of the visceral fat in their abdomen. And when they have this protruding abdomen, this visceral fat is much stiffer, and it creates an unneeded and a unwanted stiffness in the torso, which makes rolling a challenge. So if you have visceral fat, if you're starting to have, you can be kind of chubby. I've seen plenty of big guys who can roll beautifully, but it's more of the subcutaneous fat. It's not a lot of the visceral fat. So if you have the visceral fat, check your diet and health routines. I personally enjoy fasting to help get rid of visceral fat. I think it's a great way. There's some other doctors who will talk about fasting along with fermented foods or just the liquid from the fermented foods. Anyway, different topic, but that's one thing to consider. So let's talk preparation for forward rolls. Always starting from the knees. And whether you do a more traditional martial art roll, where I'm going to go with the left side first. If you're taking that left arm and digging it under you, diagonally behind you, or whether you're doing what I would refer to as a Systema style roll with the arm out to the side, both of them, the thing they have in common is the placement of the back of the shoulder is what you're trying to get to touch the ground. So again, this is where if you have a lot of visceral fat and protruding belly, it becomes harder, but just find a place where it's going to work. So you can literally start, I often start from this kneeling position, but you can start from hands and knees, whatever works best for you. So just some basic mobility drills to start getting into the position, right? Number one, again, we're going to focus on the left shoulder to the ground first. Chin is going to tuck down to the chest and then slightly to the right, slightly to the opposite side of whatever shoulder you're putting on the ground. And then I want you to think about taking the meaty part of the back of your shoulder, touching the ground with it. So the more traditional roll, the arm goes underneath, chin is tucked to the chest and slightly to the opposite side. And I just want you to bend from there and touch the back of your shoulder to the ground. So what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to extend my right leg behind me because it just makes it a little bit easier. And I'm going to take my eyes and look up under. I want to look at the sky through my right armpit. So I'm trying to take my head in this instance and go under my right arm. Okay? And I want to try to get this back of the shoulder to the ground. Now, similarly, if you're going with the outstretched arm, face forward, thumbs up, palm forward. I want you to rotate your thumb. In this case, it's my left thumb. So as I'm looking at it, it's rotating clockwise as much as possible. And you can see how it, as I keep going, it starts to drive and twist my shoulder forward. That's what I'm looking for. I want to twist forward. Head still goes down under the opposite arm. And I want to put the back of that shoulder to the ground. Do it both sides. The traditional, the outstretched arm, either way. And here's something else I want to point out once we start to get to this position. You're not trying to dive your body part straight into the ground. You want to think about your body as if it's a ball or a wheel, okay? And it wants to be rolling forward the whole time. So as there's contact made with the ground, that point now, imagine that point sort of locks into the ground and pulls the body forward. So you may remember Sonny was talking to us about walking a specific way by pulling your feet as if it was the treads of a tank. Think of this the same way. As soon as the back of your shoulder makes contact with the ground, that's the initial mechanism that, I shouldn't say that way, I should say it this way. That's the initial pivot point for the mechanism now to pull forward like a tank tread, not a trank ted. So, and as we start to go over the top into the actual roll, that's where that rocking drill that we did before comes into play. Your body needs to keep that rounded shape of the spine, and you're going to roll forward, keeping that rounded shape, and for now just try to come back up to a seated position or to that curved position that we started with when we did the rocking exercise. One other detail of how I like to teach this. As we're actually going to roll forward, I like to try to chase my opposite knee. So in this case, we're going to roll over our left. So my right knee, I try to chase my right knee with my forehead. The closer I can get my forehead to my right knee, as you'll see in a second, as the right leg extends behind me, the easier that roll becomes, especially with the thought of that pulling mechanism. So, from a hands and knees position, I'm going to take my left arm, I'm going to outstretch it, rotate it that clockwise until it starts to drag me to the ground. I'm going to extend my right leg behind me. And now I'm going to try to catch my right knee with my forehead. So left shoulder to the ground. Try to catch the right knee with your forehead. That's what helps you get your head out of the way. And then just slightly push off the ground with your left foot. Like so. Let's do it again. So we're going to go back the other direction. We're going to use the right side now. Right side, arm outstretched. This time, because I'm looking down my right arm, my right palm is facing forward. As I look at my right thumb that's pointed towards the sky, I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise this time until it pulls me down. I'm going to extend the left leg behind me. Back of the right shoulder to the ground, which becomes the pivot point. Chase my left knee with my forehead. Now, I'm going to give that slight push off the ground with my right foot, but I'm also going to lift my left leg over and let the legs slowly pull me. And again, as I said before, for me, one of the key elements of rolling is body control. And of course, body control leads to self-control. And that self-control, that body control helps keep you in a more relaxed parasympathetic nervous system state so that you can continue to work and function. And then of course, you just amp up the intensities as you become proficient in each level. It may take you a couple hours, may take you a couple months, just depends on the person. So I'm going to do a couple more of these forwards, and then we'll do the backwards, which is really, literally just, it's not a mirror image, but it's the reverse of everything we just did, okay? So this time we'll do the more traditional forward roll where the arm goes underneath, but the rest of the mechanics are the same. The only difference is the placement of the arm itself. Okay. You may notice as I'm doing these, I'm coming up, as I come up into the seated position, I'm on the opposite hip from where I started. To me, that's the most comfortable, but you can maneuver it so you go down the same side or the opposite side. It's up to you, and it's up to your level of body control that you have. But just as we practiced with the rocking exercise, where we rocked back on one side, transferred the weight from left shoulder to right shoulder or right shoulder to left shoulder and then sat up. It's the same part that's happening here. Because as we get into this position, it's just a slightly more extreme version of the rocking shoulder stand. Okay, so left side, arm extended. Right side, arm extended. Landing on the opposite hip. Left side, arm underneath. Right side, arm underneath. Let's see if we can get it to land on the same side. Again, body control, right? Left side to left side. Right side to right side. Honestly, there was a little cheat in that one, but it's there. So, as you become accustomed to this forward and backward ground roll, this forward roll, forward hard surface ground roll, and you're already accustomed to the rocking drill, now we start to work on the backward roll. So the backward roll is nothing more than an extension of the rocking drill. And now that you have a feel for how your body pivots over your shoulder, now you can apply that feeling to the backward roll. So in this case, I'm going to go over my right shoulder with an outstretched arm. And we're going to consider this, we're going to start it this way. We're going to do the rock backwards. We're going to rock backward on the left side of the body, transition the weight to the right side as we go all the way over the top. Part of how we're going to do that, as we get into that shoulder stand, and you're going to take your left foot and reach it back toward the horizon, diagonally towards the right side of your body. So from the seated position, again, a couple of rocking motions. Go ahead and put, in this case, the right side, put the right arm out to the side, roll down the left side of the body, reach up to the sky as you do it, and as you reach up to the sky with your left foot, go ahead and transition the weight from the left side shoulder to the right shoulder. You can do that a few times. And next, you simply, as you reach up, you reach then back toward the horizon behind you. Feet down, roll up. So, opposite side, I'm going to go with the left arm out. I'm going to rock down the right side, up, up. Now reach over. And if you want, you can flatten out, back up into position. Simply sit down, and now you have your forward, you've got rocking, forward rolling, backward rolling, and now you start here and place them together. So we're going to roll backwards, we'll roll forward. Forward roll, backward roll, sliding out. And the more accustomed you get to this, the closer you can keep your legs to the ground. The typical exercise of the leg raises where you're laying on your back. And you start simply by drawing your knees towards your chest, and then legs up, and then start to push the legs over the head. Is a big component of keeping your legs closer to the ground than higher up. Why would you want to potentially do that? Sonny explained it to me years ago. It's essentially, it's a potential tactical advantage. The way I recall it, at least, he was describing if you were in an active firefight, basically. So people are shooting over the top of you. You don't want to stick a lot of body parts up high, as much as possible. You want to avoid that. So, draw the knees up as much as possible, stick the feet out as low to the ground as possible, and then do your roll from there. So that also leads into if you wanted to start doing just the forward and backward rolls from sort of attached to the ground, you might call it. We could go from there. Now, the real challenge on this one, going back forward from a lying on your stomach position, is just being able to drive your shoulders into the ground to get that pivot point. And imagine then that shoulder is dragging the rest of your body up over itself. And it can be a challenge. So we're going to give it a shot here. So it's not as pretty as I would like it to be, but that is a drill that you can work on. And then the more comfortable you become with all this, you start to apply it from higher and higher positions. So if you're going to go from a squatting type position like this, everything stays essentially the same. You have a little bit more gravitational force, I guess I could say, to contend with. And again, you don't want to drive a body part straight into the ground. You want to think of it as that it's pulling you forward the whole time. And that's part of what helps you not just jam things into the ground and get hurt. So from this squatted position, right, we're already in a bit of a ball-like shape. So two things sort of have to happen here. I have to begin my roll forward just by leaning, right? I just lean, right, and I'm going to go forward. As I get to this position where my balance just breaks forward, that's where I have no other choice but to now tuck and roll, or I'm going to face plant into the concrete. So something you can do to slow that at the beginning is just placing your hands down, getting the feel of that lean. And as the lean comes in, again, I'm going to kick one leg out behind me. In this case, my right leg. I'm going to roll over my left. And again, I'm going to try to catch my right knee with my forehead, and that mechanism of trying to catch the knee is part of what helps pull you forward. So as you progress higher and higher, that idea of the forward rolling ball or the forward pull of the tank tread or the wheel has to be there. Otherwise, you're going to really hurt yourself. So the other thing you have to deal with the higher and higher you go is you have more momentum, and you have to know where to dissipate that momentum and how to dissipate it and where do you want it to go. So sometimes you use, if you're going forward, you use that momentum to get right back up on your feet. But Sometimes you want to stay flat as much as possible as well. So I'm going to do one from higher up, and my goal as I demonstrate this is going to be to let it roll me right back up onto my feet, and we'll go from there. Everything still applies the same way. In this case, I'm going to go over my left again, so I'm going to take a slight step forward, right? And that already sets me up with the right leg behind me, so now I just got to try to chase my right knee with my forehead as I go to get my left shoulder, back on my left shoulder, to the ground. And it helps as well to try to get it as close to this front foot as possible. So whatever the foot in front, that's the shoulder you're putting down. You want to try to get it as close as possible to that foot as part of that pulling mechanism. So slight step forward. So we're not just standing straight up, it's a process. Right? Here we go. We start leaning. You can, if you wanted to, you could practice this partially by doing a single leg Romanian deadlift type position or a single leg hip hinge. And then from there, we create that ball shape and we go forward. Now, I hit the ground a little harder than I wanted to. It wasn't terrible. So we'll try it again. And that was much better. So, I know I'm in the shadows quite a bit. Hopefully you found that extremely helpful, and I will talk to you later on. Let me know how this goes for you, and if you need any more guidance on it, of course, just reach out to me, and I will help you out. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.